Welcome to Northfields.space, where the health optimization and well-being podcast, Self-Empowerment, starts with me, your host, David Northfield. Here in Surrey, UK, the self-empowerment journey starts with biohacking and health optimization. Today, I've got a special guest. I have Francis Mansapit on the show live, who is live from Tokyo. He works as a language teacher and loves learning, as it inspires him to form good connections with mentors in his life. He did intermittent fasting before he knew it was a thing. And he is into keto, carnivore, holistic nutrition, health, and home remedies. Right. Hi, Francis. So how's it going over there in Tokyo?
Hey Dave, good to talk to you. Everything's good. Everything's pretty good. It's a little cold here because it's winter. It's kind of the winter season, but everything's nice and good here.
Nice, yeah. Well, funnily enough, it's winter here as well in the UK. So yeah. So let's get started. So well, tell me a bit about yourself, about the keto lifestyle. I understand you live a keto lifestyle and diet. So tell us a little bit about yourself and that.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, I do keto, carnivore, kind of keto and carnivore. I kind of switch between the two, but I learned it more than a few years ago, just through the internet, just through forums and stuff, and watching some videos I caught online. And I wasn't really serious about it in the beginning. I just kind of learned it, and it was a thing that kind of helped me cut weight when I wanted to. It was just a thing of, just kind of cut down on the carbs and everything. And I really didn't know there was a name for it. I would just kind of go on and off for it for throughout the year. And first really started learning the literature and the foundations in late 2014, maybe. Just these little bits of information I find, and anything I can find online, I would just read about it and everything. And it's really been an on and off thing until about last year, January, that I really wanted to dive deeper into it. So I really incorporated more of the lifestyle into my training, and into a lifestyle. That's basically what it is for me.
Okay, cool. So you've basically been looking into it for a while, and you're mainly concentrating on doing carnivore keto. Is that right?
Yeah, I started keto as just this way to approach nutrition, getting the most nutrient dense foods into myself throughout the day. And what I didn't do is I didn't learn the exact foundations of keto. So there's a couple of weeks I went through that I didn't know I was doing carnivore. So I would just eat like a steak in the evening, and I wouldn't be hungry for breakfast, because a steak would really fill you up. So I would just eat a steak, probably cooked in some butter, no black pepper, just Himalayan pink salt. And I would just eat a nice fatty steak in the evening, and that would control my appetite during the entire next day into the late evening again. And the thing about it is, a lot of people say don't eat before bed. But I was doing the opposite. I would skip breakfast and I would eat these huge pieces of meat cooked in butter before bed, like 2 hours before I go to bed. And I did that for about 2 weeks, until I didn't know I was doing carnivore, until my friends online sent me a message, and he was like, "You're doing carnivore," and I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing, but it feels good. I feel fine." So I do kind of label the nutrition I believe in as a keto carnivore.
Yeah. So it's almost like you got into it by mistake. You were just doing these healthy things that made you feel good, and you were doing it, and you didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, I've always been into holistic health. I remember when I was growing up, just little home remedy stuff, home remedies about, whether it's flu or cold or just eating habits. And, I always thought carbs weren't bad as long as you ate the correct carbs. So for even before I knew anything about any nutritional base, I would just think the healthy thing to do is eat the unprocessed carbs. So no breads, no noodles, and that would just be like rice and potato, or I'm sorry, just rice, and potatoes, which are unprocessed.
Yeah.
I thought that was really healthy for the longest time, but I noticed that it would really fill me up. And then I learned that by kind of adjusting how much carbs you take in can really make a big impact on not just weight control, for me, mental clarity, and having more sustainable energy throughout the day instead of like looking for snacks.
Cool. So did you just find this, sort of discover this on your own, that these foods were good for you? How did you come about to finding that they were good for you?
Yes, that's a good question. Definitely not on my own. A lot of the things I just found online.
Right.
And I was very fortunate enough to find some really instrumental people in helping me have a foundation of knowledge. And it was a lot of the presentations I saw online. One of the ladies I follow, and as well as her husband, her name is Maria Emmerich and Craig Emmerich. And they have helped me tremendously without even knowing, just the content they put out and just their willingness to share the information and their personal experiences. So I learned a ton of information from them throughout the years. But a lot of it for me is constantly reviewing the material and the information, then trying to implement it into my personal lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that was the thing for me. Definitely not on my own. So I have to give a lot of credit to those two individuals in particular, but definitely also Dr. Eric Berg. I know he inspired you. Yeah. His videos have definitely helped me out a lot to shed light on the science behind it and more of an organized approach instead of just guessing what to eat. So things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So if you don't mind, can you tell me a bit more about the relationship with your mother? I believe you shared a lot of health and well-being ideas with her and stuff like that. What was that like?
Yeah, it was great. She really had so much passion for just health and well-being in general. And I loved her approach when I was younger, and a lot of it was just keep it natural. We're just trying to keep the foods natural and everything. But I think what we lacked a lot was just the information that we have now, right? We have so much information online on all these books being published. And she really had a holistic approach as well, a really natural remedy type of person. And we would text, when she was still alive, she just passed away, unfortunately. She passed away late 2018 on October 26th. But we would text each other all the time, on our phones about what our breakfast was, what we're going to eat later, how we feel. We eat certain herbs, different types of dishes, and any secret ingredients that we're going to use at the moment. So we would share a whole bunch of health related stuff. So it was great. She has a huge impact on the reason why I'm so interested in just not only the science behind it, but the community as well. So she has definitely been a huge impact even up to now. She's definitely, definitely a huge impact.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sorry to hear that your mother passed recently. But it's so nice that she's been such a good influence in your life. And I hopefully that will continue. And
it's one of the reasons why I really jumped into it deeper within the last year, early last year, is that I noticed that I would have these sugar and carb crashes when I would just eat the so-called normal way. We have the snacks during the day, the protein bars or the energy bars and the sandwiches. And I live in Tokyo, so we have the ramen and the udon, and they're so delicious. But the gluten and the carbs, they would really give you a lot of energy, but it would also keep your appetite really up. So after she passed away, I really didn't want to deal with the sugar crashes and the carb crashes throughout the day, because it would really take a toll on my schedule. So a couple of months after she passed away, I really wanted to revisit a lot of the literature. So I watched more videos again, and I connected with a lot more people, and I really dove into it for the past almost year and a half, or maybe a year, almost a year now, a little bit over a year, really focusing on it. And I'm so fortunate to be able to connect with some of the most inspiring people, and some of the people I look up to really personally helping me out has been really an amazing experience, and I love the community. So yeah,
that's amazing. Amazing journey to be on, and it's just ironic that it's about the same time that I've been on my journey as well, about a year. It's almost like it's that time. It's that time, isn't it? That time to make a change.
Exactly.
And do something.
The second you told me when you really started into it, I was like, oh man, that's the same time for me that I really jumped right into it and really focused my entire being into just being very congruent with the lifestyle and the community, so it's an amazing thing.
Wow. Yeah, so can you tell me tell me about some of these home remedies that you've discovered over the years?
They're just basic stuff. I know you follow a lot of the people that I follow on YouTube and stuff like that. We do learn from a lot of the same people, and a lot of it is just basic herbs, turmeric, maybe some turmeric, to take in throughout the day, throughout the week. I do enjoy some spices in my food, so I do use some cayenne pepper and stuff for the antioxidant benefits, whatnot. And I sometimes, if I'm feeling a little adventurous, I'll put a little on my steak. Besides just having the salt, I'll do that. So for those things, I learned that just simple things like that can really save you from maybe getting sick throughout the winter time, or keeping you hydrated during summer. Take some salts in instead of me buying supplements, because it's easy for me to kind of jump into the supplement thing online. It's the easiest thing. You order it, you don't have to go to the store. It gets home delivered to you. But again, I love that approach of buying natural. And one of the things I learned is that when I first really learned about it, maybe late 2014, I was thinking I need to buy all of the cut of steaks exactly like they're eating it in the US. So I'm like, I need a ribeye, and I need like that perfect ribeye roast or whatever it is. And then I learned that to the people helping me, they would say, you have to understand how you can adapt it to your demographics. And that just completely opened my mind that this nutritional base can be applied anywhere you live. You just have to figure out what foods you need to eliminate, and then what foods are going to be okay. So a lot of it is doing your own personal research. And I know you know that. Yeah,
great. So apart from diet, do you do any exercise? What sort of exercises do you do?
Yes. Exercise is really important to me, actually. I do try to keep a routine throughout the week. I try to balance it out. I know you're in a running club, and I'm trying to get my cardio up maybe to your level, but I do CrossFit at least twice a week, and it's a group session. So it's really nice to have that socializing aspect. I love working out with my group. There's a competitive edge, and there's a very comfortable, help each other out type of environment. I love it. So I do that twice a week. I'm trying to get back into my running once a week in the evening time. Some of it is because of my sisters, they're runners. They enjoy running, and they always tell me I need
Okay.
to do my cardio. And then recently, when I talked to you, you joined the running club. I'm like, everyone's getting into running again, so I need to. I'm focusing on my running. And the other physical thing I do is I do some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I try to do it at least once a week. And I try to do that once a week session at least 1 to 2 hours. And yeah, it's either just like a private lesson, and I try to throw in some sparring. So it's just pretty much CrossFit, and CrossFit is kind of endurance and power training, running, and some jiu-jitsu throughout the week. I try to keep it very consistent.
Yeah.
If I miss the day I'm supposed to go, I always try to go the next day. So exercise is extremely important to me, and that's why I don't need the sugar and the carbs to help me to make me crash throughout the week. I just like to keep that schedule.
Yeah, that's great. So what's your morning routine like then? Do you have a morning routine?
I like to believe I have a morning routine. It's probably not as meticulous as yours, but I do have a type of routine. When I do get up, the first thing I do is I try to stretch. Throughout the week, I'm doing a lot of training, and I noticed that I haven't really been focused on stretching and respecting the aspect of actually stretching. And that was a really big thing for me. A lot of the people from my gym and some of the trainers I know before, and also some people online, they taught me some really good stretches I can do in the morning. It takes less than 10 minutes. I can do that before I shower, before or after I shower. It's very simple. So I wake up, I incorporate some type of stretching. In the morning, it depends on how I'm feeling in regards to appetite. I noticed that I do tend to skip breakfast a lot recently because of my lunch and my dinner. So recently I just been getting just water, just plain bottled water. Or if I'm feeling a little bit adventurous, I'll probably get in a sparkling water in the morning with some lemon. Very basic, something very basic like that. And that's about it. That's just the basic morning routine. I don't like to rush exercising. So if I know I'm going to have a busy day, I keep my exercising and all of the other things in the evening. So it's just those three: get up, stretch, get some water in, and the basic thing, just have a good shower and finish off my shower with just some cold water on my back for at least 30 seconds, and I'm pretty much good to go.
Oh, so you do a bit of cold therapy as well in the morning there?
I don't know if it's going to be called cold therapy. It's like about 30 seconds, no longer than 30 seconds. I noticed on freezing cold water. For me, 30 seconds is pushing it.
Okay, well, I manage about 2 minutes.
I'm lucky if I get 45 seconds. I notice I'm a warm-blooded creature. I come from a warm climate, so 30 seconds feels good on me. I feel refreshed, and the feeling of the refreshing feeling lasts a good 5 to 10 minutes after the shower. It gives me some energy, so it's good. So
can you tell me about some of the your typical sort of meals that you have during the day? It'll be interesting to know what sort of meals you normally have.
Okay. Sure. So when I'm doing some keto stuff, the basic keto nutrition, keep it high fat. Definitely the fat. If I can feel it feeding my brain, I just feel more mental clarity with that. And I noticed, and I'm sure you probably have experience with this, Dave, that before you've done keto and you try to cut weight, you're gonna have to prepare yourself for the headaches. Those headaches that's gonna come, those cravings. And I try to keep it very high fat, and I try to keep it delicious and tasty. So I'm not really a coffee drinker, so I don't do the butter coffee thing. It just doesn't work for me. I'm more of a tea drinker at the most. So I would probably have low carb vegetables, anything low carb. with a protein source. I do not like chicken breast.
No.
I never liked it. It's just not it's not juicy. It's not something my body craves. So if I do go chicken, I'll get chicken thighs, a darker meat. I do get some of the local sausage that I can find here in Japan, which is domestic, and those are amazing. The meat in Japan is absolutely amazing, top quality. So I do get a lot of the pork sausages, pork chops, any domestic cuts of steak here work really good with me. And I do get these, they're called these pork blocks. It's kind of like the bacon before it's cut. So I buy a bunch of those throughout the week, and I throw those in either the cooker I have here, and I can actually have that throughout the week. It lasts about 2 or 3 days, and super tasty and juicy. So it's usually a protein source with the fat that's already connected to it, whatever it is, whether it's chicken, beef, or pork. And then I would have any type of low carb vegetable. If I'm going carnivore for the week, it's as simple as just eliminating the vegetables. That's all it is. I'll just have more meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you find that feels then when you eliminate the vegetables, and how often do you do that?
I do that quite often, actually, and that's why I fall somewhere, I guess, between the keto carnivore for some reason.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hate vegetables. I do enjoy my veggies time to time, but you know, I always thought that we needed fiber for some reason, you know, to make our have a healthy gut. And I believed that for years, you know, and it was a scary thing to not eat veggies at one point. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to the restroom. I don't know if I'm going to be feeling okay. But, you know, once I did it, I learned that the most important thing is keeping my water intake up and making sure I'm taking in enough salt on the meat I'm eating. So I do cut out my veggies. I can go maybe 2 weeks straight without vegetables and just meat.
And does that make you feel better then, or is it?
It does. I can feel. I don't know if it makes me feel better, but I know that my body feels that it's getting enough nutrition as long as I'm eating the fatty meat. I don't like to get any lean cuts. So any cut I buy at the stores here, they do have a good amount of fat to keep me satiated throughout the day. But I do feel, I mean, what it is for me and what it is for me with eating, not eating is just as powerful.
Yeah.
So when I do intermittent fasting, that also makes me feel very clear in my mind, and I feel like my body is somehow healing itself. I don't know if that sounds strange, but I feel like everything is okay. So I don't know if there's a big difference, but for me there's a slight difference. I feel like I can lean out a little bit easier without me even wanting to do so, when I eliminate any veggies. So that's pretty much
okay, cool. And you think you find it helps you with your fasting? I mean, when you talk about that, yeah, there is when you do fasting for over 16 hours, you get into this state called autophagy, and that's when your body recycles the old cells. So it's not a myth; it's a real thing.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I'm glad you brought autophagy up. There's so many ways to pronounce it. I don't know how to say it. And I watched a great video, and I think the Nobel Prize winner to discover it, he doesn't live too far from where I'm located. He's a Japanese guy, and I hope to meet him one day as well and have a chat with him about his discovery. It's amazing. But yeah, definitely the fasting. I would do anywhere between 12 to 16. I don't know how long you do. Do you do anything above that?
Well, at the moment, I do 16/8, so I do 16, at least 16 hours of fasting every day. Yeah, because once you get to about 16 hours, that's when you start getting into autophagy. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm about the same then.
Mm.
I would do 12 to 16. Of course, I'm not really precise because I would probably do 16, I guess 16 hours and 30 minutes, whatever it is. But I noticed that I would probably skip, if I eat breakfast, I wouldn't eat lunch and dinner. And that itself is over 12 hours. And then I would sleep on it and I would wake up and I would have an early breakfast at maybe 6 or 7. But it's really skipping a meal for me. If I get in a big dinner, I would probably be satiated until late afternoon. Then I would probably start having cravings. So it depends on which meal I'm skipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you vary that on a daily or weekly basis then?
Yes, I do. That I'm glad you brought that up. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and it's about listening to your body. And when we try to keep that, I learned when we try to keep that mainstream thinking of keeping that so-called normal way of eating, we're not really listening to our bodies. And that's a huge mistake that I made. So I noticed that for me, I just naturally just kind of shift out throughout the week if I'm skipping dinner. It depends. It definitely depends on my schedule. Different weeks I'm busier than other weeks. If I'm traveling also plays a huge part in if I'm gonna fast in the morning or in the evening, because I usually don't like to eat the plane food. So I use that time on the airplane to fast and to sleep. I noticed that has made like a huge impact on just how I feel when I travel now, because a lot of the foods we take in when we're traveling, they're really not the healthiest foods. They're really processed. So it just naturally changes for me. I just listen to my body, my sleep cycle, and I just follow whatever I'm feeling at that moment. So it depends on my schedule. It depends on how I'm feeling, and it depends if I'm traveling or not.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a really good practice and lifestyle to get into. Just listening to your body, and also, like you say, when you're traveling, just fasting and sleeping is a great thing to do, because
Yeah.
some of the foods out there are terrible. All the carbs and processed foods that you get offered are just terrible, and they don't make you feel great either.
And
So yeah.
it gets overwhelming, and we get caught up in the traveling thing of we got to eat that local food, we got to get that in, and I mean I'm guilty of that, whether we're traveling to Hawaii or something, and there's like the local moco, which is like it's the most delicious thing, these two huge scoops of rice with gravy and a hamburger patty and egg, and I'm just like, oh, that's the most, it's the most delicious thing. But I mean, you can enjoy stuff like that as long as you cut down on the carbs. I think you cut down on the rice, and it depends. It also depends on what current state your body is at the moment. So if I do like a huge fast, and I do carnivore for like a week straight, I noticed that I can carb cycle, and it doesn't have any effect on me. So I'm not like zero carb, but I'm close to zero carb.
Okay. So when you're carb cycling, what is that? What do you do then?
Well, I didn't even know what the term was until I talked to you and a few other people. But I mean, I go out and eat with friends or whoever, and well, in Japan we kind of have the luxury of telling the waiter or the server in the restaurant how much rice we want here. So we can tell them, it's really an amazing system. We can tell them if you want it a large, a medium size, or very small to like extremely small, right? The portion size, which is amazing here, right? It's so amazing. So I would usually ask for a small or a extra small serving of rice, and then on top of that, I would eat half of that. So it's like half and half a scoop. It's like a quarter of a scoop of rice just to get a little in. And if I really had a hard training, I would probably eat a little more of that. But again, the amount of physical activity I do in the week, somehow, I don't know if this makes sense, Dave. Does it balance it out? Do you think so? Because I'm still learning about that.
What balance out what? When I do
my carb cycle and the amount of exercise I'm doing?
Yeah, I mean, if you're having carbs and stuff, it's probably best to place that around your workout time.
Yes.
And also, if you are having carbs, it's also best not to consume that with a high fat diet, a high fat meal.
Yes.
So
I'm pretty much doing exactly that. That's what I'm doing. So, I mean, I wouldn't eat a lot of carbs immediately after my workout, but I'll probably get in. I'll get in less than 25 grams the next day, maybe. And it's as simple as just cutting down on whatever you have on your plate and just knowing what you have on your plate. And for me, it's been a definite learning experience. And a lot of people, they coin Japan as the rice capital, and it definitely is. It has a lot of dishes based on rice. And I do come from a beautiful small island in the Pacific, and our diet is primarily consisted of rice, and that's fine. But again, it's just the amount you eat and knowing the nutritional density of the foods you're going to eat. So, I mean, if I go to the Rotary Sushi place here, I don't know if you know what Rotary Sushi is, Dave.
I've heard of sushi, but I don't know. What's
so
this food?
It's called Rotary Sushi, and it's you have your little plates of sushi, and it's on a conveyor belt and just goes around in the circle, and you just pick up whatever you want. So you're sitting on like this rotating. It's a counter, a circle counter with a rotating top. So you just pick it off. Yeah. So when you come to Japan, I got to take you to a sushi place. I promise.
Yes.
A good sushi place.
It sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
But you do. Do you eat fish?
I didn't really used to eat fish, but now that I've started doing keto and I know that fish is good for you, I do have salmon and prawns and things like that. So definitely I'm up for it. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And the preparation in Japan is extremely high level here. So everything's safe. But if I go to the Rotary Sushi place and I'm pulling plates off, all I'm doing is just eating the top part, and I'll probably eat just a little rice. And at the same time, again, I can request to the expert sushi chef, can you just like give me half the rice on that sushi? And it's as simple as that. Wow. Just stuff like that. Yeah. So we'll just get the tops off on that. And I also get the fish head soup here. It's called alajiru, and it's a fish. It's all of the fattiest parts of the fish, and they just cook it. They slow cook it in like a miso base, and it's the most tastiest soup. You got to try it when you come here again. I'm going to take you out to a place. We're going to try it together. It's pretty amazing. And again, for me, it's a learning thing. A lot of the people I learned from, they're not eating these traditional Japanese foods. And that was one of my concerns, trying to follow this nutritional thing very carefully. Because I was just thinking, there's no way I can do it here, right? There's just no way. I always kind of like was silly about it. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do it here. There's just, we eat too much rice, and there's all of this here and whatever. It's not the same cut. But, again, a lot of the people I looked up to, they reached out to me and they just explained, Francis, you just have to do your research, know what's on your plate, and find the ingredients and the nutritional value. And that's what I've been doing. And it's been a great learning process, honestly. And I'm still learning. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's what I find. We're just learning all the time. And it's great to keep on that, keep up with it and just discover new things. Yeah, definitely. So you've been trying out something new, I think. This air fryer. I saw you with this air fryer. Can you tell me a bit more about this? What's going on there?
Yeah, there's this lady. She's an amazing, one of my mentors. An amazing lady. Her name's Maria Emmerich. Her husband is Craig. I watch all their content for years. I'm an absolute supporter of what they do. They're just an amazing power couple. And I just picked up her book actually on my current trip. It's a new book. I'm going to show you it.
Wow.
It's called Keto Air Fryer. And what it is it's, I didn't even know what an air fryer was until like a year and a half ago. Or like
no, I've never heard of it before. So yeah, it's all new to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what it is you have a toaster oven in the UK, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So you have this this device where it's technically an oven, and the top just has this rotating fan, and it blows the extremely hot air directly on your food. So you're technically air frying your food. Hence air fryer, right? But then right. Yeah, it's amazing. I have made some of the most amazing cuts of meat in the past 2 weeks that will blow your mind. I have to show you the photos I took.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't even know how good of a cook I was until like I cooked like a pork chop and these cuts of pork with the most crispy tops and the juiciest stuff. So I'm really into that at the moment. I am going to just go through this book with a fine-tooth comb and learn the foundations of it and the recipes. And definitely I'm going to try to make these recipes with the local ingredients in my neighborhood, which is going to be a challenge.
Nice.
And yeah, so it's something I'm looking forward to. And I'm definitely going to share some recipes with you.
Great stuff. Great. Do you know what's the advantages then of using this air fryer? Do you know?
I know that I'm not a good cook and my food turns out amazing. That's pretty much what I know. I mean, it's when you're cooking like I cooked, recently, just last week, I cooked these miso pork chops. And usually when it's on the stove, kind of butter the stove up a little with the grill, and I throw it on the stove, and the second it heats up and I throw the pork chops on, all of the oil kind of starts splattering and everything. It gets out of the pan, it hits you on your hand, it kind of gets messy. With the air fryer, it's kind of like this basket you have. You kind of take it out, and the second you put everything in, you have like this strainer type of mechanism you can pick on and off, and there's a pot that it attaches to.
Yeah.
You put everything directly inside. You have a timer and you have a temperature reader, and you just set it to whatever you're cooking at the moment, whether it's fish, pork, beef, low carb vegetables, and it just cooks it without you even doing anything. So, I mean, I practically cooked one of the most amazing pieces of pork while playing guitar and like on my computer. It was the most amazing thing. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the coolest things. I'm sure you probably have it in the UK.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I didn't realize that that's what it was. So it's just basically to make it easy, and so you've got a bit more time maybe to do other things. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to show you a photo. Yeah. I mean, this is like, I literally cooked this in 25 minutes, and I don't even know if you can see it, but I literally cooked like this in like 25 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's a piece of pork.
Yeah.
And it's like a crunchy top with like marbled fat and the juiciest center. And I didn't even do anything. I just like put it in and pressed the button. So yeah, I'm going to link you up maybe with one of the good ones. So wow. I'll keep you updated on that.
Well, that's amazing. I think I'll have to try it out now. Because I'm having difficulty cooking. I mean, because I was trying to cook some stuff, and you're getting a lot of smoke, and stuff like this when you're cooking, trying to cook things at high temperature. But yeah. I guess this thing smoke at all, or what?
Well, I didn't have any experience with it smoking, but again in Tokyo, we have the ventilation system in the kitchen, so I always turn on the fans on the very top just to make sure, if anything, but there's a little fan behind the air fryer, and it kind of just blows the hot air out. But a lot of the hot air the point of it, I think, is to keep the hot air in. So
Yeah.
I practically cook that thing until like golden brown without noticing any smoke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it can smoke because it gets so hot, but will it smoke as much as a stove, a conventional stove? In my opinion, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I get, if you're cooking meats at high temperature on your stove in oil and stuff, often it can all be smoking and get sort of quite messy. Yeah. So this sounds.
I love enjoying food, but I'm not much of a good cook, to be honest. I dabble a little bit sometimes, but I'm not really like the cooking person.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I think our time is up now. We've been chatting for a while, and I'd love to have you on the show again to catch up.
Absolutely,
thanks.
Dave. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to you inviting me on again.
Yeah, definitely. And well, I'd just like to say thank you for your time to be on the show, and it's always great to speak to you and swap ideas and talk about keto and intermittent fasting.
I love picking your brain, and I cannot wait for you to go to your next Biohackers event, because I'm not going to go. And the second you're finished, I'm just going to be picking your brain, getting all of the new info coming out, trying to figure out what new products I need to get. So get ready for that.
Yeah, it's all cutting edge. And I hear you're starting a podcast too, because I just got interviewed. So tell me a bit about that quickly.
Yes, so my podcast is focused on our nutritional lifestyle, and it is a keto podcast. At the moment it's called Simple Keto Tokyo, and it's focused on sharing these inspiring ideas from people in our community. And I wanted to share the ideas that can help people understand that you don't need to be in a certain place to follow this way of eating. You can be anywhere you are, but the most important thing is connecting with the community. And this community that we're part of has been extremely welcoming to me. So the podcast is really focused on that. I had some really good guests. You're actually one of them. So I'm really looking forward to people listening to your interview. But yes, it's called Simple Keto Tokyo. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, and all of the podcast areas that you would find a podcast. And I hope everyone enjoys it.
That's amazing. Yeah. So if you just send me the links, I'll post them in the on my podcast here, so people can link you up. Definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. But I also want to throw out. You can also find me on Instagram under my name, Francis Mansapit, or Keto Carnivore Tokyo, or Simple Keto Tokyo. If you go under those hashtags, you can find me on Instagram. And I love posting whatever I cook. I'm not the best cook, but I love posting some foods I eat, maybe some workouts I can do throughout the week. And you can definitely find me on IG.
That's great. Yeah, I'll be checking that out as well. All right. Thanks, Francis. It was great to speak to you. And I'm sure we'll be speaking soon. All right. Cheers.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Yeah. Cheers. Peace. Bye. See you on the next one. Get healthy and stay optimized. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. I'm David Northfield, and you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Check out northfields.space for more information and to get your free consultation.